Welcome to Search for Signs. My name is Gary Willing. If this information interests you, please press the like and subscribe button and press the bell for notifications. In this video, I want to talk about something a little different and then kind of tie it into the Maitreya story and so forth. But I want to talk about conspiracy theories. Of course, there are a lot of different conspiracy theories out there. You know, do I think some of them are accurate? Probably. Some of them not so accurate? Yeah. You know, like for instance, do I think that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone in killing JFK? No. I think there was a cover-up some kind of way and probably involved more people than that. To the extent, I don't know what, you know. I know when Benjamin Creme was asked that question, and it's published in, I think, Maitreya's Mission Volume 1, might be 2, but anyway, you know, who killed President Kennedy? He said it was the forces of darkness that were behind the assassination. Now, whether it was the mob or the military, I don't know, you know, or whatever. But in this country, in the United States, there is a point of darkness that's centered in the Pentagon. So was he referring to them in kind of a roundabout way? I don't know. That was the closest he ever got to answering that question. But, you know, so like I said, I mean, I believe that conspiracy theory. Like, I don't know exactly what happened, but or why, but that's, you know, my view on that. Now, other conspiracy theorists or conspiracy theories I don't buy at all, right? Now, I also think our government, for instance, perpetuates conspiracy theories. They're doing it right now, you know, about the whole election process with Trump. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. You know, the truth will come out as more investigation is you know, involved in it. Now, the other thing too is George W. Bush definitely perpetuated a conspiracy theory that there were other countries trying to attack us after 9/11. And so put the United States in full-blown red alert, you know, and generated so much fear that the United States citizens were willing to put up with pretty much anything, including the elimination of certain rights and liberties that we have grown accustomed to, you know, and for our own security, so to speak, right? Now, Benjamin Creme's master, I think, said it the best during the Gulf War. He said that it was, the United States has done so many, I'm paraphrasing it, but he said that the United States has done so many nefarious things over the years that it's psychologically, it's almost like the United States thinks that they deserve to be attacked. So, you know, that was his view on that. Now, and that, you know, most countries like Iran and North Korea don't have a desire to attack the United States, really. You know, it'd be dumb for them to, you know, but, you know, it is what it is. But the other thing was, I remember reading, actually, it might have been before I even read about Benjamin Creme, but a friend of mine gave me a book that was written by a very popular conspiracy theorist named William Cooper. And the book was entitled Behold a Pale Horse. And he was a naval intelligence officer, and he had a lot of information about this conspiracy theory and that one and so forth. And I remember reading, actually maybe it was right after I had read about Maitreya, because I remember reading something in there about Maitreya. He said that he, of course, saw Maitreya as the Antichrist and so forth. But the one thing about William Cooper, do I think he perpetuates fear? Yes, and according to the masters, if you perpetuate fear on any level, you're actually helping the forces of darkness, whether you realize it or not, either directly or indirectly. So he was indirectly helping the forces of darkness by generating fear, because when somebody's afraid, they don't act, really, and so, or they're too scared to act. But now, the thing about William Cooper that kind of amazed me, actually, I came across a video that I had never seen before just a few months ago. And it was right before he was killed. He said that, he came out and said that his information on the aliens taking over the world and all that stuff and in UFOs, and he put a lot of time and effort into the aliens were here to attack us and so forth, and they're taking us over, and there was this secret treaty between our government and the Russian government and these, you know, what he referred to as aliens, right? And that's why they were abducting people and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, he came out and said in this video, and I was shocked, that he said that all that information was incorrect. And for somebody like him to say that, it took a lot of bravado, man. It really did. And because he put a lot of time and effort into perpetuating that conspiracy theory, and for him to admit he was wrong it's amazing. I have to give him respect on that, right? Now, do I agree with everything he said? No, but I've listened to his radio addresses on YouTube, and you can make it for what it is. I do think in his own way he thought he was doing what was right, and I can't fault him for that. Do I agree with him? No, but when I came across some of that information about William Cooper, I had, like I said, I just started reading Benjamin Creme's books. I had talked to some friends of mine. I said, what do you think about this? This is what this guy's saying. And I didn't know much about Maitreya at the time, so I couldn't really go into a lot of depth about it, right? But they invited me to one of their meetings that they were going to about these conspiracy theories and that. And I went there, and, I didn't know what to kind of make of it. And I actually asked Maitreya for a sign, which is right, what Benjamin Creme is saying or what these conspiracy theorists are saying. And he gave me a sign, and I don't want to go into it. It's actually a video I put up, and it is in my playlist. I'll check and make sure it's in there so you can see it. But where I saw Maitreya in a parking lot, and he confirmed in my own mind what Benjamin Creme was saying is true. So the other thing is, and this is about conspiracy theorists, but right after I had kind of started reading about Maitreya, I was stupid enough to put myself out there, and I started doing radio interviews, and I did some local cable TV access programs. And this one I did here in Smyrna, it was a guy named Sam Matthews, and I doubt he's doing his radio show or his TV show, or he might be doing something different, broadcast, maybe on YouTube, I don't know. But anyway, he talked about conspiracy theories and paranormal stuff, and of course I talked about Maitreya on there, and I mentioned to him that Maitreya made a series of predictions. One was going to be the global stock market crash. One was the ending of apartheid, the ending of the fall of the Berlin Wall, which all came true. And he said one was, and this was published before it happened, but he predicted that George Herbert Walker Bush would be removed from office, not removed from office, but would only serve one term. And this was at Bush's height of his popularity, where it was like over 90% approval rating, So it was pretty out there for Maitreya to make that prediction, but it happened, right? Of course, he lost the next election to Clinton. And so I said this to this guy who was a conspiracy theorist, and he said, well, it's common knowledge amongst his friends that there was a secret meeting in the Oval Office between Reagan, who was president at that time, Bush, and Clinton, who was the governor of Arkansas at that time. And they were the only three in the Oval Office, and they all made a pact that Bush would only serve one term, is what he said. And then he said something about Clinton and why Clinton would be, the next president and all that kind of stuff. And I said something to him. I was like, well, there must have been a fourth person there. And he goes, no, there was only the three. And I said, no, Reagan, Bush, Clinton, and the guy that told you. And so he kind of gave me this stare like, you punk. But it's so true about the way people see conspiracy theorists. They don't look it all the way through, And so, again, do I think that there's a lot of truth to that? Yeah. Now, in terms of 9/11, one thing that's very interesting, and I mentioned this in another video, is that Benjamin Creme's master published Benjamin Creme's master's article in August of 2001, so right before September 11th happened on that day. But the title of the message was "Sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof," which is a biblical passage. It's an Old Testament passage, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And he wrote in there, he said that few have even heard of this, passage, and even fewer live by its principle. And he went into greater depth about what it means, and when evil strikes, the best thing to do is nothing, to let the aggressor be the aggressor, but they don't gain any energy if you don't do anything. And he was suggesting that the United States do that before September 11th. And so it's interesting, and had the United States done what the masters suggested, which is to allow, the aggressors are, attacked, but then after that, don't go after them, Let the karmic lords do their bidding for you. Let that happen for them. And sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof. That's the passage, right? And then by doing that, not give them any energy. We would have still had this. We would have had the sympathy of the world, which we did at that time. And had we changed our ways, we would not be living in the world we're living in today. But of course, we've followed that same path that we are used to following, where, you know, more military, more bluster, more, you know, terror, counter-terror, and so forth. And we're living in this very precarious world we're living in today. You know, but we would be living in a much more peaceful world, I think, if they had listened to the masters. So to tie it all in, you know, I mean, Maitreya's message is hope, is peace, you know, that we will get it, that, you know, we just have to start the principle of sharing and watch what happens. And as Maitreya says, just try it. If it doesn't work, go back to what you're doing. But they know it's going to work because we've already done it before. We've already started to share the world's resources before, but stopped right after World War II with the Marshall Plan. It worked, you know, and we have a generally peaceful relationship between the Western European nations and the United States and so forth. But anyway, just wanted to share. Hope that helps. And as always, take action. Help SOP save our planet. Thanks for listening, and we look forward to talking to you again in future videos. Have a great day.